Hi, it's David again, and I wanted to do this quick video on the constant comedy that comes out of the Mormon church. You know, I get more laughs from the Mormon church and its antics than I ever get from TV or movies. I've been in the Mormon church, I was for 50 years. A half a century is a long time to be in an organization, so I know a little bit about it. And I've never been kicked out. I've never been excommunicated. I never had an affair. Many Mormons don't believe that you can just look at the history and look at the doctrine, and when you can stop laughing, you just send in a letter of resignation and say, you know what? This sucks. This can't be true. This has more craziness in it than an average, normal human being can have inflicted upon them. Let me give you the example and the reason I'm making this particular video, if I can keep a straight face. You go by Mormon churches all the time. Now you go by Catholic and Baptist churches and Presbyterian, Lutheran, and many times you'll see a cross or some type of a religious symbol from Jewish synagogues and whatever. Well, the Mormon church has had a long, strong cultural and documentary history of not having a cross on any of its buildings. Now, this is kind of interesting because now the talk is, well, is the Mormon church a Christian church? Well, I was in it for 50 years, and I can say this. I went to all the classes and priesthood meetings and sacrament meetings. I worked in the temple in Los Angeles. I've been in the elders quorum. I've been in one state presidency for for a couple of months. So I have some experience. I've never had a period of being an apostate. I now have been out of the church 8 or 9 years, whatever it's been now. And I resigned. I just said, this is silly crap. I don't want anything, I don't want my name on that mall downtown in Salt Lake City. I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I've been in the Philippines. I've seen poverty in a third world country. And for these white Aryan people to take the money from the third world people and put it in a mall in downtown Salt Lake City for the rich, I go, wait a minute. Even if Jesus is a true living creature, I'm not interested in having my name on that. Well, go by all your churches in your local community, and then you'll come to the Mormon church. Now, usually, there's been some changes because some of the old chapels were different, but the new modern chapels usually had some kind of a huge phallic symbol on the outside. This great big brick tower that goes, to Babel, I don't know, to heaven. Outside a fairly, reasonable, modest kind of a church. There's no crosses, there's no symbols, signs, tokens, symbols, statues, there's nothing. You go by and it's very mundane, and it's very easy, perhaps, to even mistaken a Mormon chapel for some other kind of building in the community. Well, I'm going to guess, about 5 years ago, I started noticing in Utah that the chapels that they could put steeples on. Now, I've lived in New England and Massachusetts. I know what a traditional steeple looks like on a Christian church. Well, again, in the Mormon church, it's not what they say, it's what they do. All of the construction projects done, the painting, the architecture, the carpets, the drywall are all done by Mormons. They're sweet contracts because the engineers just give it to the guys that they have a relationship with that are good Mormons, and everybody gets rich except the people and the poverty in these third world countries. So somewhere, somehow along the line here, certainly the City Creek Mall, $5 billion has gone to LDS construction firms. So Utah says we don't have any unemployment. The poor little person in Guatemala that's paying 2 pesos for the month went into that construction crew downtown in Salt Lake City for a $5 billion Jesus Mall. Well, some contractor and some church authorities and meetings were held that our churches in the Mormon church look like shit. And they did. They did. They didn't look like a church. And they say, well, people are saying we're not Christian. We're not going to change our doctrine. We're still going to discriminate against almost every living thing except white people. And we're not going to change marrying 14-year-old girls, and polygamy is still in our D&C, Doctrine and Covenants 132. We're not going to change anything, but let's see if we can fool the American public. This is kind of like a fun house on Halloween. These people really think we're that stupid. If you take a Ku Klux Klan robe and hat and change it to blue, does that make the KKK any better? Their doctrine hasn't changed. Their procedures, they still hang people, they drag people, they keep them from going to separate but equal schools. If you change the color of a KKK robe, it doesn't change the person or its organization, its policies, procedures, and beliefs. Well, anyway, image. It doesn't matter what they do in the Mormon church, it's what they want the public to think that they do. So some contractor got a really sweet deal. I'm sure he's Mormon. And the lift companies that lift these stupid things 150 feet in the air, they got a sweet contract. So they started building these domes and tearing down some of the phallic symbols that I think that the general authorities really enjoyed, especially Boyd K. Packer and his little factory. But they started taking these steeples and just gluing them on the top of these buildings. They don't match. Some of the buildings, many of them are brick, and the steeple is not brick. And it has little French windows in it, and it's very cute. It looks like something out of New England. So they glue this on the top of their chapels, so when you're driving by, you go, oh look, there's a church. Oh my gosh, it's a Mormon church. They must be Christian. Well, they think you must be stupid. I'm not. That little dome on top doesn't change their doctrine, their procedures, their hatred of gays, their hatred of women, their hatred of blacks, their hatred of polygamists, which they started, and now they hate the group that followed what they said to do. And now Mitt Romney goes, we're Christians. And a couple of the Baptists go, wait a minute, you've never been Christian. And that little thing up on top of your chapel don't mean crap. He's right. He's right. It doesn't mean crap. It is constant comedy from this supposed American religion that just gives me nothing to do all day except read and look and say, gee, you know, here they are again. Here they are again. So let me leave this with you, that when you see a Mormon church, if there's any way that they could have put a steeple on that and a little dome that makes it look like a New England old-fashioned chapel, they're going to. Now they have some problems because some of the architectures are extremely unconducive. That's not even a correct word. The architecture of some of their buildings is so stupid, you can't even glue one of those domes on top of it. So you'll see some of the older chapels, maybe the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where the steeple just isn't there. Because what are you going to do? Glue it on the outside of the building? Turn it upside down? Who knows? The Mormons may do that. But be aware, this is an organization where image is everything. My tie, my suit, and my short haircut and my glasses, and I'm holding my Book of Mormon and triple combination under my arm, and I'm raising my right hand. Oh, I had it wrong. Left hand. Right hand to the square and promising to give all my property now and forever to the Mormon church. They somehow think we're that stupid. And the modern news media, we're a year off, this is 2011, November, the modern news media says, well, we don't want to delve into Mitt Romney's church. That's not the measurement of a person. What the hell is a measurement of a person if it's not their family and their religion and their economics and the things that they grew up with? Certainly that is a measurement of the man or the woman. We should delve into Mitt Romney's background. Let me say this, because it's true. Mitt Romney was in the Mormon church when the blacks could not have the priesthood or go to the temple. Mitt Romney was a leader. He didn't just sit like Obama and as a regular member of the church. Romney was a leader. Romney influenced Utah. Romney influenced the Mormon church. Romney influenced legislation discriminating against black people. And when Romney says in his speeches, watch their lips because that's when they lie. They lie when their lips are moving. He said when he heard that the blacks could have the priesthood, he was driving in his car and he pulled over and began weeping. If he pulled over and was weeping, where the hell was he for 20 years? As a leader of the Mormon church, he never stood up and said, hey, you know, those people, we shouldn't discriminate against them. What's the deal here? The blacks haven't done anything. They're just regular people. What kind of a leader is he going to be in the United States presidency? He's a follower. Romney has always been a follower. He'll continue to be a follower. And he had opportunity. His father, George Romney, was a pretty good governor there, I think, in Michigan. I was a child. But Romney is used to listening to his prophet, not thinking, doing what his prophet says. He's intimidated. He's scared. He smiles. They have glued that smile on his face like they've glued those domes on the Mormon church. It's fake. Romney is not a leader, or he would have led the Mormon church to saying, wait a minute, let's not discriminate against gays. Let's not discriminate against blacks. This guy is scary. Look at his background. Look at his religion. He is not a leader in civil rights. He's not a leader in the rights of women. He's not a leader anywhere. He just smiles and thinks you're going to look at the steeples on his buildings and think that the KKK robe now is blue or green and they're an okay people. They're not. They're lying, slimy, tricky people. Romney is not a leader. He never led anything on civil rights. I think he made some kind of a stupid comment that he marched with Martin Luther King, which he didn't. When you trace that down, it wasn't marching, or it was something very, very illusionary. He was a state president. He was a bishop. He was a leader in the Mormon church. And he let that discrimination go on from 1820 until 1978. Don't believe me? Go look it up on the internet. Go look it up. The records are clear. Putting a chapel steeple on does not make it a Christian church. I've been in that church for 50 years. Every time I've heard the word Jesus Christ, I have heard the word Joseph Smith 80 to 100 times more than Jesus Christ. I cannot tell you how many sacrament meetings I have sat through and never heard the word Jesus Christ until the closing prayer or until the sacrament prayer. We say this in the name of Jesus Christ. I've never seen the lessons on Jesus Christ. We don't study the Old Testament. We don't study the New Testament. Now, the Mormons watching this, and my good Lord, over half of the people that look at my videos are Mormons in Utah. I've tried to get out of that market, but God, they just keep clicking on me. They're going to say, oh, no, in a seminary. Now, I'm a 4-year seminary graduate, so don't tell me what seminary teaches, okay? Yeah, they have a subject called New Testament, Old Testament, Book of Mormon, and it may be Doctrine and Covenants or Book of Abraham. I can't remember what that fourth one was. The fact is, every class I took for 4 years in seminary was brainwashing in a cult for worshiping Joseph Smith and using Jesus as a cover, like a spy agent, as a cover. Well, Joseph Smith said Jesus was a great guy. Oh, they have a song in the Mormon church. Praise to the man who communed with Jehovah. Joseph Smith. The world will atone for the blood of that man. There is a green hill far away. The first vision. It wasn't on a hill. I've been where the first vision was. Flat with big trees. These people are the most ignorant, stupid group of people, and I'm ashamed. I was in it. I'm a well-educated person, and they fooled me. They fooled me. I was a child raised in it, and I thought, gee, you know, I'm not in a cult, and gosh, we talk about Jesus all the time. Baloney! They worship Joseph Smith. They talk about their modern prophets, who never prophesied anything. There's never been a modern prophecy, but there's been 10 or 12 prophets, and the Mormons worship. And when the prophet comes into the tabernacle for general conference, all the Mormons stand up, we thank thee, O God, for a prophet. And this old geezer that comes in half the time in wheelchairs and canes and doesn't even know where he is, and they put him down like Packer on the stage and put his seatbelt on Packer so he doesn't fall off on the floor. This church is out of touch with America. It's out of touch with any kind of religion. And let me tell you, it was very easy for me to go from Mormonism of 50 years to today an atheist. Throw everything you want at the computer screen. I don't care. I'm done listening to gold plates that are hidden and that an angel took them. And I'm done listening to a 38-year-old man saying to a 14-year-old, two of them, Nancy and Helen, the Lord has told me that I need to marry you. I know you're only 14. Leave your teddy bears at home and come to my bed. And an angel with a flaming sword chased me around and told me to tell you, and it will cut your heads off if you don't marry me. I'm done. I'm done with that stupidity. I'm done with not having my brain turned on. I'm done watching things glued on a Mormon chapel. This is like pin the tail on not the donkey, the asshole Mormons. It's pin the steeple on the chapel, and let's pretend that the Southern Baptists and the Christian community and the Catholics will not think we're not Christians. Mormons, they're not that stupid. The world is not that stupid. When they hear the truth, you guys, what comes around, goes around. Your Mormon temple built in Rome, the front door has a very sneaky image. It's a cross made out of wood in Rome. The Mormon church has never ever displayed a cross inside a chapel, outside a chapel, inside a temple, outside a temple. But to get that temple in Rome, they put the wood on the door and hope that nobody sees it. But the Catholics will see it and say, oh, it's a church. This is the most deceptive, scheming group of people I have ever had the privilege of ever being involved in. I'm glad after a half a century I looked at it and go, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm not a liar. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a thief. I'm going to always tell the truth. And when I tell the truth about the Mormon church, I get people that write me all kinds of rude and crude and stupid things, and they're all Mormons. They're all Mormons. Why are they watching this tape? What Mormon in their right mind watching? You know how I get rid of those people? I just simply type on my message. Does your bishop know you're watching my videos? Bam! They disappeared. They're gone. Because I know they're programmed for fear and guilt. And the bishop can excommunicate them for behavior unbecoming. That's like a soldier. They didn't used to have that as an excommunicatable offense. But when they couldn't find a hard and fast, you had adultery, they go, well, it's behavior unbecoming. You're out. Why are they watching this video? Because they're starting to think and they're going, you know, that old guy may have something there. He may have something there. I have seen them gluing those New England type steeples on the Mormon chapels to make them look like a Christian church. If it's the KKK, it walks and it quacks like a KKK. It probably is. And if it's a Mormon cult, if it looks like a cult, walks like a cult, it's probably a cult. Don't be fooled by these people. They're smart as a whip. Don't underestimate them. They're smart as a whip. They will kill. They will flood the internet with all kinds of people calling to get their advertising up more. They'll have ward members and put out phone banks in the millions, in the thousands, the hundreds of thousands to try to influence you and this society. Don't let them do it. Look at their history. Look at what they've done. Don't listen to a damn word they say, because most of the words are absolute lies. Thank you.